ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. All right, so last time we were seeing the problem of desire and anger. He's going to throw some more light on it, but I think that is pretty clear. Are there any questions? There any questions? Shoot. About how to handle etc. a little bit more, we will see today. In fact, a lot more he is talking about. Clear up to now? Okay, fine. Then let's go ahead. All right. Okay. So last time he gave that example of how problematic the covering can be, like the fire enveloped by smoke, a passing breeze of the Shastra is enough, or like a dusty mirror, some polishing, Viveka Vairagya, etc., some Shravana Manana Nididhyasanam, all that is required, or it is like the fetus in the womb, you have to wait 9 months, meaning you have to take some time and deal with it through Karma Yoga, etc., and other means that he is indicating here in the text to follow. All right. So now going ahead, he says, Avritam jnanametena jnaninaha nityavairina kamarupena kaunteya dushpurena analena cha. Therefore he says, enam is it not loud enough for all of you? You can hear? Okay, because okay, the breaks may be because your or mine, this may be a problem. Net connection may be an issue. Yeah. Just so that the mic is also closer to me. Okay. All right. Therefore, he says, etena, by these two, by kama and anger. Okay. Jnanam avritam. Jnanam avritam. Now, jnanam, people will jump to the conclusion, knowledge. No. Jnana sadhanam, that which helps you to gain the knowledge. That means your mind. Knowledge is not covered by desire. Your mind can be covered by desire because your focus on the desire is so much that the teaching doesn't make much sense. Why? Because I am saying you are Ananda and your mind is saying what? Because of the desire. If I get that, I'll be Ananda. Can you see the difference that's happening? The teaching is you are Ananda. But what is your mind telling you? Because of the desire, if I get that object of desire, I will become Ananda. So you are postponing the understanding. Therefore, Jnanam Avritam. Jnaninaha Nitya Vairinaha, he says. This is the enemies of the intellectuals. Okay? Kama and anger. Enemy meaning, okay, there's a little exaggeration here. Okay, little exaggeration to highlight the importance that this is what prevents you from being a jnani. The teaching can work very well in you. It doesn't work very well because the mind is overcome by these. If it is a mild desire, not a problem. But if it is a strong kamaha, when you say kamaha, and enough to create anger, etc., then it is strong. Therefore, it becomes a block for you. Okay. Kamarupena kaunteya dushpurena adanena cha. What is the enemy? Kamarupena, of the form of kama. Dushpurena, difficult to fulfill. Analena cha, like the fire. Why? The more you feed the fire, the bigger it grows. Therefore, if you think, this desire I'll fulfill, after that I will get the truth, another one will crop up, another one will crop up, another one will crop up. I mean, that's the nature of desire. As long as I take myself to be a finite being, I cannot help having desires. Desire is not the problem, it's a symptom of a problem. See, many often we take desire as a problem. No. Desire is a symptom of my lack of fulfillment, of my ignorance about myself. Therefore, the solution is not saying I should not have desires. This is an idiotic thing that our Indian public falls for. Something very idiotic. What is that racket in the background? So this is an idiotic thing that our Indian thinking falls for. Yeah, don't have desire. Simple. As though it's possible. Yeah. As long as you have a sense of finitude, desire will prop up. You can suppress that desire until one day it bursts forth. Until one day it just flares forth and hijacks you. Hijacks you. That is not the way to handle desire. Or deny your own desires. It doesn't work. Okay, then I'll keep fulfilling it. That also doesn't work. You're in a catch-22 situation. You fulfill one desire, another one will prop up. How many of us have prayed to the Lord? Lord, give me one thing. I will not ask you for anything. After this, if you give me this one thing, I will not ask you for anything. Has it worked? Or have you kept asking even after that? Yeah, natural. Natural. Yeah. You remember the story I told once long back of one of my students who is settled down in Dehradun? Mussoorie. She got married to this doctor guy. She's from Bombay. She met on a trek in the Himalayas, married him, and settled down in Mussoorie. And they had two wonderful kids. So when I went to Rishikesh, they came to meet me. They said, Swamiji, we'd like to take you out for a meal. I said, okay. Have a nice, good North Indian meal. Chalo. So we went. So we had a nice, good meal. And then the father is asking the two guys, बेटा बराबर खाया ना? हाँ बराबर खाया. अभी बोलेगा नहीं ना भूख लगता है करके? नहीं डैडी अभी भूख लगता है ऐसा बोलेगा नहीं पूरा 1 घंटे के लिए. Kid is smart. Yeah, he knows himself well. And all of us laughed and said, okay, at least 1 hour he'll keep quiet. Then we came down and there's an ice cream parlor. Ice cream khayega? Haan, ice cream. There's always a place for ice cream. So similarly, our desires are like that. Our desires are like that. No, right now I don't have any desires. Switch on the TV and watch for half an hour. All the advertisements, etc. You didn't know that you had this desire. It came up. They call it desire creation. Need creation. It's not a need, it's a desire creation. Okay. If you didn't think about it itself before that, that means you didn't need it. And now it's a desire that has propped up. Natural. Why? I take myself as a finite being. As long as I take myself to be a finite being, this is like. It's an interesting question. If desire is to be dealing from Ananda, what is the purpose of desire? So did I ever say desire has to be dealing from Ananda? Because you don't know you are after Ananda, you think all these things will give you Ananda. Because you don't know your Ananda, you think all these things will give you Ananda. Therefore, desire is not dealing with Ananda. Anybody has a desire to be miserable? Does anybody have a desire to eat poison? No. Why? Hey, harmful problem. Unless when things are not going good enough and you have a desire to quit this world. That's a different thing. How do we exactly know what a desire is? Yeah. Can you just repeat that question again? I didn't get the whole question. How do we know what a desire is? You think it is a necessity for your Ananda. If you are really going by necessities, in the lockdown, did you go to your favorite restaurant? No. No restaurant is open yet. Did you go for a favorite holiday? No. Travel is not possible. So many things we took as necessities in our life turned out to be not necessities. No? Food is a necessity. Food definitely is a necessity. You have to live. What type of food? I want to eat pasta. You can eat dal chawal. 3 months of the lockdown, when my maid was not coming, I don't believe in wasting time on cooking. I made khichdi every day. Cooked once in the morning. It takes me 20 minutes. Very healthy. Dal, rice, vegetables. All vegetables put in, some masala put in. 3 months I ate only that. Why? It's a necessity. It's a necessity. नहीं यार थोड़ा राजमा खाएगा. Desire. Harmless. But you wanted to know what is the desire, what is the necessity. I want to drink. I want to have a nice pasta. अरे Zoom है क्या? But no delivery, lockdown. Oh, miserable. If you can say no problem, then not a problem. Yeah. That's the thing. I mean, a couple of my students send me some very interesting, when they make something special, they'll send it to me. I enjoy it. Why? Unasked something is coming. Arey wah, maja aaya. It helps you manifest the Ananda that you are. So, nothing is a necessity except basics. Food, clothing. One lady comes and asks me, are you not bored wearing saffron every day? Necessity, you wear some clothes. What type of clothes, what fashion, what cut, what this thing, what fall, desire. Yeah, sometimes the requirement of a job, your society, your culture, all that is fine. But desires. Shelter, necessity. Why you have to be away from the cold and this and that and the vagaries of the weather. Therefore, you have a shelter, have a house where you can be comfortable. Nice. Husband, wife, and child, therefore 2 bedroom. Okay, fine. I'm not taking a drastic step. No, fine. No, I want a 5-bedroom bungalow with a backyard and a nice garden. And desire. Nothing wrong. If you can have it, please have it. But it is a desire. What you call as necessities is not really necessities. It is desires. I don't know, Vivek, why you keep transforming every teaching of mine into should and shouldn't. Because he puts a statement here saying, therefore Ananda is our natural state. Champion, do you know Ananda is your natural state? Please answer. Do you know or you don't know? I didn't say that. I had never said you are born into Ananda. You are twisting my words. Please go and hear it again. Please go and hear those lectures again. I said your Swarupa is Ananda. You are born because of ignorance of Ananda. Big difference between the two. Big difference between the two. And if you are ignorant of Ananda, you will seek it. But not knowing where to seek, you will seek it through all these things. Desires, what do you call as desires? Is it clear now? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And now we are talking about how to handle it if you are under the hold of it. Yeah, understand the context. Yeah, understand the context. Because what did he say? See, you guys are taking piecemeal. What is the topic under discussion? Please say it. How did this whole topic of desire come up? Please answer. Anyone in the class? Exactly. Arjuna asked a question, why do I do things which I am not supposed to do? Why do I refrain myself from doing dharma? It almost looks like something is impelling me. That means what? There is a problem at hand. To which he replied, this is the desire and anger which has become a problem for you. Not something which he says, okay, going for a walk. It is not a desire like that. It is a desire which has become a problem that we are dealing with. So when you are referring to an old lecture, be careful of the context. Be careful of the context. Don't come to a class on a fresh slate every class, okay? And I have to start from scratch. No. But you remember certain things from the past. Then remember the whole context. Yeah. I am not saying you should not ask questions. Please, that's not my intention. But be focused. Be more focused. Yeah. So in that context where the desire has become a problem, fulfill it, you're breeding more desires. Suppress it, you're creating a problem of suppression. It'll hijack you. That is why earlier in Karma Yoga, I said, tie up your desire with your priorities. Did I not say that? And focus on fulfilling the priorities. Vyavasayatmika buddhi. Second chapter. When he started the section on Karma Yoga, I said that. Okay, understand the need behind the desire. The need behind the desire is your priority. If you go all the way, it is only moksha, nothing else. But we are human. We are living in a society, living in a world. So for we will not be able to go to moksha directly. There will be half a dozen priorities in our life. As long as the desires are linked to that, you know the priority can be fulfilled even if a particular desire is not fulfilled. Therefore, you can live a life of Karma Yoga. Fulfilling your desires, but in a healthy manner. Making sense? Connecting with the previous verses and all. Making sense? Yeah. Now, going ahead, he says, every desire you may not be able to act upon. Therefore, some desires you may have to handle without acting upon. How do you do that? He is giving you some tips in the next couple of verses. Indriyani mano buddhi asya adhishthanam uchyate ete hi vimohiteshaha jnanam avritya dehinam. Indriyani, your sense organs. Manaha, your mind, your emotions. Buddhihi, your reasoning. Asya adhishthanam uchyate. Asya kamasya adhishthanam uchyate. The desire has these three houses: sense organs, mind, emotions, and reasoning. Why reasoning? I'll tell you. Okay. And etehi vimohiti eshaha kama vimohita. It deludes. Why? By jnanam avritya, by covering your reasoning. Jnanam avritya. For whom? Dehinam, the one who is abiding in this body. His jnanam, his vivekaha, his buddhihi avritya vimohiti, desires. How? The heart can desire only what the eye has seen, isn't it? Do you have a desire for what is there in my pocket right now? Or what is there in my bag? You cannot have a desire. Why? Because you don't know. Unless you project something and say, Swamiji keeps chocolate in his bag. Sadhu ke bag, you don't know what will be there. There may be a snake inside. Today is Naga Panchami anyway. So you don't know. So you can't desire what you don't know. How do you know? Indriyani, sense organs. Remember the old song? एक झलक जो देख लिया राही वहां ही रुक गया. Guy is going and he sees this beautiful girl, he stops. Indriyani. And where the eye has gone, the emotion follows. So beautiful, so nice. Then your buddhi starts planning and plotting how to go about it. First it justifies. It justifies. It gives you supporting arguments to the emotions. It justifies and starts plotting and planning how to go about it. It plots and plans, going along with your mind and the sense organs. It's simple. You're grocery shopping. You went for your necessities. You're a diabetic patient. You went shopping for your necessities. And in the shop you saw nice Rasgulla from Bengal, K.C. Das. Wow. Indriyani, information, mind. Hey, I love that. I love Rasgullas, and K.C. Das. They claim that their forefathers invented the Rasgulla. Orissa is challenging that, but I will go with Bengal. Emotions. Wow, reasoning. But you're diabetic. Arey, once in a way it's okay, yaar. Ever since the lockdown, I have not eaten Rasgullas. Koi sweets bhi nahi khaya. 2 months I have not eaten any sweets, yaar. So once in a way it's okay. Now see, buddhi goes along with that. If you have reached that state, prakritim yanti bhutani nigraha kim karishyati. Your nature is, what use is control? If you control today, next day you will get it. Next day you will go specially. I'm going for a walk, and you'll go that side and you pick it up and come. Could have gone for a walk on the different side. You could have gone towards the golf course. No, but you'll go towards money and pick it up from there and get it. Why? Overnight you have been plotting and planning and giving yourself the justification to get it. Then you will come home and you will tell your wife, hey, I saw this K.C. Das. Oh, K.C. Das is good. That's very good. But I didn't pick it up, after all I'm diabetic. Yeah. She's thinking, I could have eaten it. He should not eat it. No. What is wrong? I can eat it. He doesn't have to eat it. You better not eat. I can eat. You should have got it And she says, and he understands. Yeah, she also likes it. So next day your justification. No, I got it to surprise my wife and make her happy. We all follow this stupid logic. Emotions belong to the heart. The intellect is only for reasoning. The intellect is clear. Emotions are. Forget it. Your emotions won't have any strength if the intellect does not support it. And the intellect does. Why? Your viveka, your jnanam, avritam, is hidden, is covered by kama. If right in the beginning, if you had not made that value judgment by saying, hey, this is great, thinking, hey, this is great, then Kesi da Rasgulla, theek hai. Yeah, they claim that their forefathers invented Rasgulla. Good, nice. And if you had walked away, no problems. But this supported this. And this was influenced by Indriyani, sense organs. So this sense organ doesn't desire. Sense organ only reports to you information. Your heart said it is nice. That's much nice, okay. But your thinking supported. Thinking. It is thinking that causes emotions. Once the thinking has created the emotions, then the emotions can overpower your thinking. Fair enough. Therefore, this is the picture. This is how it happens. Alright, then how do I go about it? Yes, I said that the question is Jnanam same as Viveka? Yes, Jnanam stands for the mind as a whole, but in special cases, it's referring to Viveka. Okay. Now, how do you go about it here? Tasmatvam indriyani ado niyamya bharatarashabha papmanam prajihi yenam jnana vijnana nashanam. Tasmat tvam indriyani ado niyamya. Hey Bharatarashabha, hey best among the Bharatas, bull among the Bharatas, meaning best among the Bharatas. Indriyani ado niyamya. Keep a control over the sense organs. And papmanam prajahi hyanam. And win over this one that causes you to do all the wrong things, which is jnana vijnana nashanam, which destroys your thinking, your knowledge, your wisdom, everything. Okay? How do I do that? How do I do that? First, if the temptation is strong, keep the temptation away from you. Don't stock up the fridge full of sweets if you are on a diet. Wrong. Unless you have the discipline like how some of us have. A student of mine, very sweet lady, she and her husband came to meet me. What was it? Yesterday, Thursday. No, day before, Thursday. She came to meet me. She got some nice homemade sweets, very well made. 8 pieces. Very tasty, very well made. Homemade sweets, very nice also. And I am a sweet lover. Everyone knows that. Sweet lover meaning lover of sweets, okay? Don't take any other meaning. Yeah. Okay. I love sweets. And they're in the fridge. So every day I take 1 piece, split into 2. 1 after lunch, 1 after dinner. It lasts me 8 days. If you can do that, the sense organs don't have any power over your mind. If you can't do that, please don't keep it at home if you are on a diet. Don't do that. Therefore, indriyani niyamya Meaning, you are knocking off the connect between your sense organs and the object of your desire. Simple as that. In the beginning, you will need that. If the desires are very strong and you can't handle it, this disconnect is important. Yeah, this disconnect is important because the constant stimulation and that constant fighting is not there. So it is healthy to keep that distance in the beginning. Once you master it, not a problem. Once you master the desire, is not a problem. Yeah. Like my nieces and all come, the first thing they will go straight into the fridge. Why? They know there will be some sweet, there will be some chocolate. Right? And they are welcome to it. So they make a beeline to it. As kids, they would hog them. Now they are grown up young ladies, they don't hog it. They'll say, "Champ, can we take a small piece?" I say, "Of course, take the whole thing." No. They also learn the discipline. So it's okay. After all, whose nieces they are anyway. But in the beginning, if you are someone who's tempted, so if when you go grocery shopping, don't go to the sweet section. There is a section for sweets. Please don't go there. To be tempted. But in the beginning, I used to do that. I used to go to the sweet section, look at all of them and say, "No, discipline. I will not do it," and walk away. That's another way of developing your will. But don't try that in the beginning. In the beginning, keep away. Yeah. All right. Then what? Then your value judgment. See, this is where the thing starts. Your thinking feeds your desire. If you have to talk with somebody, can you please mute your mic and then talk? Now here the thinking. Okay. The thinking which justifies that thing, break that. Because thinking is rational. Emotions are irrational. Therefore you can't do much about them. But if you remember the thing about handling emotions that I did when we were doing the second chapter, when the classes were live, not online, you'll remember that to change your feelings, you have to change your thinking. Therefore, keep telling yourself, I am a diabetic. This is not something pleasant for me. This is something that will cause damage. Excess sugar is damaging to my heart, to my kidneys, both. After that, other organs. Therefore, I don't want to go into a kidney failure. It's a very painful way to be. Stop that justification. Give it enough reasoning so that your emotions change. Therefore, start with Dhamma, physical control, and work on it with Samaha. These are the two qualifications every student of Vedanta requires. Sama, Dhamma, Uparati, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhana. Right? All this you require. So work on it. Work on it. Please ask. Yeah. Controlling the senses is what I talked about. What did I say? Disconnect between sense. I talked about the disconnect between the sense organ and the object of desire. Then that is indicated and I am supplying it. Yeah. Okay, is indicated there and I am supplying it. Yeah, certain things are left for the teacher to say, Let me tell you a small thing. Two people were there. One is called the Veda, one guy, two teachers, two people go around the villages giving talks. One was called the Veda and the other was called the Acharya, the Guru. Okay. So the Veda will make a statement. If there are any doubts, if something is not understood, the Acharya is supposed to explain it. So in a village, the Veda made a statement. Okay. This character called Veda made a statement. A newborn calf of a cow was nibbling at the topmost tender leaves of a tree that was 40 feet tall. He made the statement and sat down. So the villagers are saying, Maharaj ji, ye kaisa ho sakta hai? How can that be? Now it is the job for the Acharya to answer. So the Acharya answers, the cow had given birth to the calf by the side of an old well. The well was 40 feet deep and the well was dry and there was a tree growing in it. So by the time the tree had reached the height, the tender topmost, this was 40 feet high. Are you getting it? What is the Veda and what is the Acharya? Okay. Who is supposed to do what? So sometimes Krishna will go ahead because he is talking to Arjuna. Okay, he will go ahead. These are basic things, controlling your mind, desire, etc. So certain things will be taken for granted. But the teacher, knowing the audience, knowing his students, has to elaborate and explain as the need is. Okay? If I was teaching in an ashram, I wouldn't spend so much time on this. If I am teaching in an ashram to full-time students who are going to become teachers and sadhus and teachers, I will not spend so much time on these verses. Why? They have done that before they came to the ashram. If they have not done that before they came to the ashram, they won't survive, they will drop off. Which is good. Why? You will get only prepared students in an ashram. Acha hi hai. Yeah. Acha hi hai. Therefore, this is how you get over the whole. Okay? And how do you get all these things? After all, there must be some indication in your source book that talks about it. Now, you can't be, otherwise every teacher will talk anything that comes into his head. There must be some indications about the whole thing. No? Now look at where the indications are. Next verse. Indriyani paranyahu indriyebhyah param manah manastu para buddhihi buddhehe parastu saha. Okay. Indriyani paranyahu. Indriyas are superior to the sense organs, sense objects. Why? Because if I say no, forget it. No, I will not go to the shelf. I will not go to the section of sweetmeats. Finished. Sense organs are smaller. Sense organs are smaller, stronger. Indriyani paranyahu. Indriyebhya param manaha. Sense organs is saying, hey, beautiful. And my mind says, oh, shut up. It can be beautiful. I don't need it. Fine. Manastu paraha buddhi. Your heart is saying, I wanted. Buddhi is giving you enough reasons to handle the emotions. Because all emotions are a product of your thinking. Therefore, change your thinking, emotions change. Indriyebhyo paraha buddhi. And therefore he says, and buddhehe paraha tu saha. The I, the Atma, presented as Saha here. You can take Saha as Ishvara also. Okay? He is beyond the mind. He is superior to the mind itself. Now he is bringing another dimension into the whole thing. Okay? Up to here we have seen. But buddhehe parastu saha. What is that? What does that imply? That implies what is going to be said here in the next verse. Evam buddhehe param buddhva samstabhyatman atmana jahi shatrum mahabaho kamarupam durasadam. All that I have said up to now is only about managing your desires, isn't it? By your reasoning, this, that, etc. First, disconnect between sense organs and the object. Why? The sense organs are superior to the object. Then mind is superior, buddhi is superior. Therefore, use your reasoning, etc. to handle your emotions, etc. It's only managed. as long as you know, as long as you do not know your Ananda, desire will keep coming up. Desire will keep coming up. Problematic desire. I am not talking about simple desires. Hey, 6 बजे हो गए, एक कप चाय पीगा क्या? Okay, that's a simple desire. That's not an issue. But if you are a diabetic, then you want to eat that sweet. Okay, have a little bit of it. That much is okay. What little bit? I can't stop until I had 4 of the rasagullas. So I'm glad you have the capacity to have 4, but with your diabetes that will destroy your stomach, your organs. Therefore, handle that with your reasoning. Handle that with your reasoning. Good. But still the desire will be there. The lingering desire will be there. How will that go? That's what he's saying here. Okay. Evam buddhehe param buddhva. What is superior to the buddhi? What is the whole thing behind it? I, awareness. Anandoham. I, the consciousness. Buddhva, having known that. Once a certain degree of mastery is gained over the body, mind, etc., your mind is available to know the truth. And once you know, buddhehe param buddhva, sampatya atmana atmana. Atmanam atmana. Then this desiring mind, you are justifying. कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. I am Ananda. If I am Ananda, I don't need that Rasagulla to make me Ananda. But some of you enjoy it. Of course I enjoy it. In moderation. You know, I have a very... This lady has been coming to me since what? Since the 90s. I think since 1990 or something. Her husband was my examiner for marine engineering in my Purvashram. Okay. Her daughter, beautiful singer, okay, she is known to some of you in the class. Okay, Shaboni. So Shaboni's mother very lovingly will sometime make homemade rasagullas. Imagine a Bengali lady making rasagullas at home. Wow. That's like how a South Indian lady will make filter coffee at home. It is that quality. You see. Okay. And she'll give me a whole bunch of them. Okay. Wow. And as I said, I am a sweet lover. I enjoy them. What? As I said before, 1 a day. Why? I am Ananda already. This is only helping me manifest the Ananda that I am. When I am simply sitting without the Rasgulla, I am Ananda. Anandoham. When I eat the Rasgulla, Ananda is manifest. You will see a nice smile on my face. Ah, ha, ha, maja aaya. I am joking, but can you get the idea? Then it is not an issue. To enjoy things in the world is not an issue. To make it a problem is the issue. Okay? To have a normal desire. You are a human being, you like things. Okay, big deal. Just because you studied Vedanta, you are not become inhuman. Or like Spock from Star Trek. No emotions. No, you are a human being. You have emotions. You enjoy the good things of life. But they don't become a problem for you. If you don't know the truth, the same thing can become a problem. Therefore, what Krishna is advocating for a student is a certain sense of discipline, a certain sense of mastery. Samadama together gives you that mastery necessary. You still have the desire, but the desire does not dictate terms to you. You hold the key, you are in charge. So, from a desire which is a problem, you lower it down to something which is manageable. Something which is manageable. That is all these verses up to now were there. This verse is talking about how to be free from the whole thing. Desire is fulfilled, not fulfilled, it doesn't make a difference to you. It doesn't make a difference. It doesn't make a difference. Why? Because you know your Ananda. Buddhehe param buddhva. Having known what is superior, what is beyond, what is higher than the intellect, your reasoning, knowing that. Okay? Jnatva. Okay, jnatva. Okay? Jahi Shatrun Mahabaho. Then you have won, your victory is complete. Hey Mahabaho, your victory is complete. Over what? Kama Rupam Durasadam. On this desire which is difficult to handle. Okay? No problems. Then you're free to have some desires. All your desires become non-binding in nature. Non-binding in nature. It's like, what example can I give you? Okay? Your maid was finishing her job and going. You told her, "Arey, jara ek cup chai bhi bana dena." And she said, "Okay." She made a cup of tea, gave it to you and says, "Ab chai khatam ho gaya." And she left. So you had your tea, you read something, then you took a class, and then you thought, "Arey yaar, let me have a cup of tea." It's nice. I talk so much. Justification. Good to have a cup of tea. Then you go and take the tea dabba. You kept the water for boiling. You take the tea. Arey, tea khatam ho gaya. Oh, my maid said chai khatam ho gaya. Now what? Doesn't matter. Forget that tea. Of this thing, garam pani, theek hai, garam pani pi lena. All your desires become at this level. Then is it a problem for you? If every desire that you have as a human being is only at this level, when you have one at this level, does it really matter? This is how you are. Any desire, when it's fulfilled, doesn't matter. Non-fulfilled doesn't matter. Fulfilled, it is nice. Non-fulfilled, it is okay, it's fine. You are still Ananda. This is called having desires in freedom. All wise persons' desires are like that. They are desires out of freedom. Whereas if I don't know I am Ananda, all my desires are for the sake of Ananda. That's why it becomes a problem. Why? Because I sorely miss Ananda. Because I don't know I am Ananda, I miss it and I seek it. Very instinctively. Every life form on earth, forget human beings, every life form on earth is seeking Ananda. Even at the amoebic level, at a level of an amoeba, only they can't spell it out, therefore it is avoidance of pain and seeking pleasure. That is all how it manifests. All animal forms are the same. Avoid pain, seek pleasure. That is why they use the pain-pleasure principle to condition it. So a very interesting thing happened. So I was in a conference of psychologists and they all were talking about conditioned response in animals called the Pavlov's response. Because a psychiatrist called Pavlov studied it well and documented it. So Pavlov's response, etc. And as he finished speaking, the lunch bell rang and all of us rushed for lunch. Pavlov's response, okay? Conditioned behavior. So our desires become our condition. Because I don't know Ananda. And instinctively all of us are seeking Ananda. Since I don't know how to get Ananda, I think when I get that, I will get Ananda. When I get this, I will get Ananda. When I get that thing, I will get Ananda. So we keep going around all our life. Really speaking, we are seeking Ananda. But we don't know it. Therefore, I say, if I get that education, I will become happy. If I get the job, I will become happy. If I get that promotion, I'll become happy. If I get the house, I will get happy. Then, if I get a woman to make it a home, I'll be happy. Then you know what happens after that. then you'll postpone it first. When I get a child, I'll be happy. Then when the child grows up, what happiness? Teenage years, misery only. Then, child gets married, I'll be happy. And the child says, I don't want to get married. Well, had it. When will all this too much for me? When I retire, I'll be happy. When you retire, what happens? अब तो बिल्कुल बूढ़ा हूँ, गोली खाकर जीता हूँ. Oh Lord, this life is gone. Make me happy next lifetime. Take me to you, oh Lord. And the Lord is saying, I have given you a chance for Ananda right here. When you go for a walk in the evening, you see this guy sometimes going up and down. Go study. He's got a class right here in Jammu. The Lord says that. But the guy is too busy. Doing what? I don't know. He's retired now. What is he doing? I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what he's doing. He's too busy to learn. Lifetime gone. And next lifetime what? He's born with the same conditionings. He's born with the same thinking. I want to be happy. So I'll seek desires, this, that, etc. It goes on like that. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jatare shayanam. Ye samsare vo dustare kripaya pahi murari. You'll cry. You'll go to the Lord and you'll cry. This samsara is very difficult to cross over. Help me cross over. And God is thinking, idiot. There's a teacher right there. Go learn. He is one of you. He stays in the same place. He grew up in the same place. He was an idiot just like you. If he can do it, you can do it. This is Lord speaking, okay, through me. Okay. Yeah. He was as much as an idiot as you are. He was chasing all sorts of stuff. Living and non-living both. He was a blooming sailor. So he can relate to you very well, don't worry. It's very easy for him to be non-judgmental. Why? Because he's been there, done that. He knows what it takes. He knows he has come out fine. So all of you will also be fine. This is what I tell my youngsters who sit in my youth workshop. All that you characters are fantasize about doing, now I've already done it. And if I have come out fine, all of you will come out fine. Don't worry. Just go ahead and see how to make your life. Yeah, this is it. But otherwise we are just wasting our life. I mean, it's fine. It's of course an individual choice. If he's choosing not to do anything about it, but then now stop cribbing. Stop cribbing, do something. Yeah, do something. Why do you want to crib? Nothing is gained by cribbing. Oh, samsara, well, my life is a misery, this thing. I think I need some therapy. Yeah, you need some therapy. Good. If you have some major issues, please go for therapy. But the fundamental problem of happiness and ananda will not be solved by therapists. Samajhi, how do you know that? A lot of therapists come to me, that's why I know that. Many of the senior therapists in Bombay sat in my class sometime or the other. Not that they understood much of Vedanta except one or two, but other things they sat for. So I know. Yeah. So that's where the whole game is. The knowledge is available. Freedom is available. Pending discovery, that's all. Ananda is available for every one of us. All you have to do is claim it. Claim your right. You all want a right, claim it, no? But to claim it, you can't fight for it. Because this is not something like you can pick up from somewhere. You know, it's like Hagar the Horrible. You remember that comic strip, Hagar the Viking. He desires to go to Paris to raid Paris, and is asking his wife. His wife is sitting down and drinking a cup of tea. And he asks his wife, I'm going to Paris on a raid. Do you want me to get anything for you from there? Well, if you are going to Paris, you might as well pick up some culture. Out comes his sword. Don't worry, baby. If it is there, I'll get it for you. Culture is not a thing you can pick up like that and come. Similarly, your Ananda you cannot claim just like that. For that, you have to go to a teacher. Say, Adihi Devo Brahmeti, please teach me about Brahman, etc. And they will teach you. It is available for learning. Yeah, but you have to be willing to learn. You have to be willing to learn. If you do that, it's your birthright. Claim it. It's your birthright. This knowledge is your birthright. You are born in Bharata Desha, Baba. Bharata Desha you have been born in. You are descendants of Bharata. This is Bharata. Bha iti Brahma Vidya. Bha stands for Brahma Vidya. Teshanto Ramante, those who revel in that is a Bharatiya. Therefore, revel in this knowledge. It is yours to claim. Yeah. Yours to claim. But claiming is not by agitation, okay? Claiming is by, or by a legal process. Claiming is by study, by knowing. Okay? With a sense of humility, go to a teacher and learn. Humility, go with an open mind. With someone like this, with me, you don't need humility. Just come with an open mind. Come with a challenging mind, even that I'm okay with. Okay? The guy is different, okay? Therefore, now he says, Iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyam Yoga Shastra. In the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, which is considered like an Upanishad itself, containing both Brahma Vidya, knowledge of the truth, Yoga Shastra, managing the mind, etc., which is in the form of a samvada, a dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna. The third chapter, called Karma Yoga, comes to an end. Any questions, or is it all clear? Okay, there are no questions. Next class. Swamiji, sorry to ask this question, but what about consistent, insatiable desire for sex? Okay. All right. So, sex is one of the deepest urges in a human being. Okay. It is not only a desire, it goes more than a desire into a basic urge for survival of your species. Because genetic survival was necessary, that's why the urge for sex came up. And if pleasure is not associated with sex, people will not go for it. It will become like programmed like the animals, you have to be in heat for it. Therefore, sex became a desire for both pleasure as well as procreation. That is why, and it is one of the most difficult urges to overcome. It's most difficult. Okay. Therefore, most people will have to live a life of Karma Yoga, where you fulfill that desire through a steady partner. You are married, or you have a steady partner. Even marriage I'm not insisting on. You have a steady partner, because that will get your emotional growth also. You have a steady partner, because then that relationship is there, because it's not only physical, there is an emotional component to it also. Therefore, both the emotional component and the physical thing has some sort of fulfillment. And if the whole thing is enjoyed with a certain sense of discipline. Okay. Now, what is discipline? I told you all before. What is having disciplined sex life? So that after the whole act, when you get up and go for a cup of tea, or to go to the bathroom or something, or go for some water, your knees are not feeling wobbly. If you are not feeling like that, then you have a certain discipline. Like I know this young couple, when they got married, they made a decision. You know, if we indulge in sex every day, we'll get tired of it soon. Therefore, we'll do it only 2-3 times a week. I said, smart. I said, very smart. You can enjoy it all your life. Yeah. So, if you enjoy it in a disciplined manner, with the sense of prasada, ishvara, arpana, all that. Remember, sex is also divine. Sex is not sinful. The sex is sin was a thing that came into India from the foreign religions, from Islam and Christianity, where sex is considered as sin. Christianity, clear cut, sex is sinful. You are born of the original sin of Adam and Eve having sex. Islam also, very peculiar. Sex here is wrong, But if you live a disciplined life here, then you will get 72 virgins in heaven. Funny religion. And they can do what they want. We are talking about here. So if you have a certain discipline and you enjoy it as something sacred. Why it is sacred? So that it is given the respect it is due. Sex is something beautiful, sex is something sacred. Never do it. Once you do it, you will find in time you gain a mastery over that also. And there are certain disciplines in yoga, etc., which help that mastery easier. Help that mastery easier. So once you do it, fine. And there are some who can get that mastery easier in life. They can become monks. Okay? But everyone has to make their peace with the God of love. Everyone has to make their peace with the God of love. Once you make your peace, then you are fine. Okay? Then explanation in brief, because the time is up. If you want a more detailed explanation, next class we will deal with it. So ask next class. Okay? Good place to stop now. 6:05. Okay? Om Tat Sat.